welcome to our coffeetalk.co. Let's talk crypto. Grab yourself a cup of something. We have water today, but we already have my coffee because it's already 11 o'clock here in New York. But if you want to drink something else, go for it. Do what you want to do. Today our topic is mining. Okay, so that might be people go, what? What are you talking about, mining? Okay, so some of you are very new to crypto. Some of you might know everything about crypto. So we're going to do all of that on this show today. We have two guests with us today. And our guests, we're going to not use last names just in case. I don't know where you guys are doing. But we have Dan and Jack. So they're here. Say wave to the audience. There you are. Wherever they are, right? Okay, so we're going to talk to these guys about specifics about mining. But first of all, we're just going to talk about what is mining. Okay, so you can listen to past shows. Like our last show, we talked specifically about coins and tokens and how to create a wallet and what the blockchain is and why we have a blockchain. But so we're just going to skim on that. So in your own words, please tell us, each of you, what is mining? You want to go first, Dan?
Sure. So mining is a way of keeping up the network and approving the transactions that go through the network with dedicated machines.
Okay. And what's your version of that, Jack?
Yeah, mining would be basically maintaining a decentralized network that contains the data of everyone's financial information that is shared in public.
So basically what we talked about is that there's a blockchain, which is what all of these currencies, let's say, are and tokens are kept on. And there's the coders, right? You guys interrupt me if I'm wrong, but there's the coders and the programmers that create these coins that then go on the blockchain. And then there's the miners that keep this blockchain going. So each miner has what they call a node. And basically it's on their computer, I would think. Your machines that you mine on are connected to the blockchain through your computer? Or tell us a little bit more about the nodes themselves and how it interacts with the blockchain.
So basically what it is that it depends on what you're mining. So some of the wallets that you use are going to be like core wallets that require you to store the entire blockchain on your computer. Other ones are just you're mining into a pool, which is a group of machines all together, and then the reward is given according to how many shares in that hour or that day or whatever the time period, the block period is, that you had accepted by the pool.
Yeah, I think you pretty much covered that one.
So let's say I'm just new to this and I'm envisioning, so some of the coins or tokens, which we talked about that last time, the difference, but we'll talk a little bit more about that too, are mined on different types of equipment. So one of the things, or at least a couple of things we're going to be talking about today when we get a little bit more involved in this is the current issues around that, where, like when I first started in 2012, people were only mining Bitcoin, okay? And that Bitcoin was mined on, when you first started, you could mine it on your computer because the hash power, the energy that you used wasn't, as significant to get the reward, meaning hit the algorithm. And then it evolved to game cards or GPUs or things like that people are still using now for tokens. But then now, in order for you to mine Bitcoins, you have to have what they call ASICs, or, it has evolved over time into getting more and more powerful equipment in order to mine Bitcoin specifically. So just to know, which coins are you guys mining right now, or tokens?
Right now, I'm mostly mining Ethereum and other Ethereum-based tokens. I'm constantly looking into new white papers and new coins, early projects, and that's like a very exciting and fun thing of mining, is to do your research, and you get to learn the landscape, and you can spot projects that you think will succeed or fail, and that's a large part of this game.
Fun.
I'm pretty much the same way. When we first got into it, Bitcoin was a little bit out of our the realm of possibility because we started so small. So we started with Ethereum and ERC20, which is like Ethereum-based tokens. and now I'm kind of in between Equihash tokens and Ethash tokens. So it's kind of like split 50-50, but lately I've been kind of upset with the news from Ethereum, so I'm thinking of moving away from it personally.
Okay, so what's Equihash? I'm not familiar with that.
Equihash would be like Zcash or Zencash, and it would be that algorithm. And like you said, the different components mine better at different algorithms. So the majority of my farm is GPU. I would say like 90% is GPU, and NVIDIA cards are the best cards for Equihash, and that's the cards that I usually get.
But I guess what I'm wondering is, are Equihash still on the Ethereum blockchain, or is it a different blockchain?
It's a different blockchain.
Do they each have their own blockchain now? Is
Yes.
that how it's working? Okay, so there are the ERC20 tokens that are on Ethereum's blockchain, and then there's Bitcoin, which is on the Bitcoin blockchain, and now there are other coins or tokens, now I'm confused to know what to call them, that are running on their own blockchains. So the ones that are running on their own blockchains, like Zhash and Monero, are they actually each have their own blockchain?
So yeah, they each have their own blockchain. They do mimic each other. All the blockchain, the information that's a blockchain is pretty much open source, so you can go on GitHub and kind of download and make your own. So they do, fork off each other, and, maybe you'll like something from Bitcoin, which is like SHA-256, and then you'll like something from Equihash, and then you can make something together, which is what Zencash is. It's a fork off of both those blockchains. So they basically just copy the things they like from it and improved on the things they don't.
Okay, so that's another whole topic, because I love all of this. And I just want to say that, again, last week we talked about hash power and what you need in order to actually get awards on these blockchains. So right now, I think there is a lot to talk about. I don't want to say competition-wise, but I would imagine each one of these coins. Do you call them coins or tokens, just so I know?
I call them coins.
Yeah, I usually just call them coins.
Okay, good. Each one of these coins then are vying for the number of miners out there that will keep, I would imagine, their blockchain going. Is that pretty correct in saying that? So since it takes a lot more hash power to get the award, which is the algorithm, hit the algorithm for Bitcoin, this ASIC equipment, there's always still more people interested in going even farther. Like I just read an article about Intel coming up with a patent that they're going to come out with a chip that will be 35% less electricity usage and all these things. So do you think there has been, again, last week we talked about these other coins being 50% of the market right now, where Bitcoin is 50%. Do you see where there's just a few people, not a few, but whoever's using or mining Bitcoin, it's more and more people are now mining these other coins. So when they talk about ASIC being used now for these other coins, and that's a big controversy right now, do you know if those people that are currently using ASIC right now are also mining these other coins, or are they just mostly mining Bitcoin?
There's a lot of different kinds of miners. Some people will acquire machines, plug them in, and not think about it unless there's like an emergency situation. And then there's others that are more active and they keep up with the different coins that come out and the rises and falls of the markets, and they're playing it more. And I think they probably are sticking to what they know, which are those ASIC machines. GPUs, it's a different setup. It's also a far less noisy setup, which is why people will run these things in their houses. And an ASIC machine is compared to a jet engine. It's not really a home device. So if they do switch to these other Ethereum-based coins, the developers are going to switch their algorithm. So if you have a GPU, you'll be able to switch onto that new algorithm, and an ASIC, which is designed for one algorithm, will then be obsolete, or you'll have to, switch to another coin. And that's basically the game that's going on right now.
So, yeah, I'm not anti ASICs. I'm anti the one company that provides the ASICs, which is Bitmain. And the reason that I'm anti that is I feel like they're controlling the industry. They amass about 30% of the network power for the top 2 coins right now, the top 3 coins, and now they're moving into Ethereum. And what people don't realize is when Bitmain creates a new machine, they do extensive testing on it, which means they're mining on the machines that they're selling to you. So you're technically buying used machines after they create a more powerful one, and your machines are obsolete within 8 months when you buy Bitmain equipment. And you also have to just basically wire money to China and hope you get something and go through that process. So I'm pro GPU only because of the resale value, and also I just basically like making the machines. I feel like plug and play is a little bit too easy, that you need to have a little bit of a skill set to mine. And I'm not saying it's a difficult skill set. If I learned it, anyone can learn it. But I'm very anti-ASICs. I do own ASICs, not to say that I don't. I do own ASICs, but don't like the company that produces it because they take the decentralization away from this whole ecosystem.
So is it Bitmain that makes ASICs then? I didn't realize that.
They're not only the ones that make ASICs, but even the other companies that make ASICs, when you get their machines, they look like Antminers. So they're getting it from the same source, and it might even be Bitmain under another company name. But there is one company in Boston, and they are the creator of a Sia coin, and they have a miner that's coming out. And once they come out with that miner, they're probably going to tweak the algorithms for both the Cred and Sia so that Bitmain can't mine it anymore. So I'm pro that company.
Yeah, well, I have Sia coin, so I'm happy about that. Okay. Do you have any opinions about that, Jack?
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of Bitmain. I think the whole point of this is that it's decentralized and that it's approachable by almost anyone. And you might need a, $300 or $400 GPU to start really hashing on a coin. But really, any computer, you can download a wallet and get started. And a lot of the wallets have built-in background miners even now, so you don't have to download scary mining software or whatever. You can just download a regular wallet and run mining software in the background when you're playing solitaire or doing whatever at work. And that's pretty interesting to me, because now we're seeing the concept of mining go from GPUs, CPUs, now it's on hard drives. There's, storage-based coins where if you have hard drives sitting around, you can connect them to a network and you'll store a network's worth of data on it, and they're not as profitable as a GPU, but it's less, moving parts and stuff, so they're likely to just run forever.
Wow, that's awesome, because, I've wanted to mine, but when I got in, we had data, we eventually had 5 data centers, around, and a lot of people doing it, and at that time, Antminers, I think, were the popular thing, and equipment, again, just to be specific. And the person, I don't know if you guys were around then, Butterfly Labs, or if you had heard of Butterfly Labs, and then there was about maybe 3 or 4 other equipment makers. And they couldn't keep up with the demand, and they ended up going bankrupt and kept millions of dollars that we had given them and everybody else. And so it was a mess at that point. So Bitmain, I guess now, well, if you haven't figured that out, they're from China. I heard that they were moving to Canada, though, so I didn't realize they had, a monopoly like that on the market. So that's an issue. So I guess it's a good thing, then, that Intel and other people are coming out, right, to have some competition.
Samsung, apparently, is also in the process of making ASICs chips as well. And I think you touched upon Intel is coming out with a new nanometer technology that's going to go to 7. And that should, like you said, about 35% more power and less power draw electrically, which is going to be really good for everyone. But everyone's going to have to rebuy all their equipment. So if you have a $50,000, $60,000 farm, you got to sell that equipment off and reinvest, and you don't know what the prices are going to be when new technology comes out. It might be $200 more than your original purchase per
So
card.
do you think they're actually going to create when I read, I thought a chip might mean you could fit it into something existing. No, because they put a patent on it. That's the thing. I mean, obviously they're going to do that. But, again,